And the public hearing for the Committee on Electoral Reform and People's Participation is hereby called to order. We acknowledge the presence of our minority leader and the other senators who have evinced the desire to join us later in the day. Considering, however, that the public hearing last January 28 was only suspended, the presence of a quorum is not actually strictly required. But we would invite the minority leader to make an opening statement if he so desires.
We have no opening statement, Madam Chair. We can proceed with the hearing.
Thank you very much, Minority Leader. And with that, we call on Attorney Dana Alberto, our Legislative Committee Secretary, to acknowledge the presence of our resource persons. As we all know, we have 4 different topics on the agenda, including the JCOC oversight on the alleged breach into the automated election system. So let's go quickly through this. And Attorney Dana, please acknowledge the resource persons already present. And we will start with the subject matter where the resource persons are available.
Good morning, honorable senators. Good morning, our distinguished guests. The Committee on Electoral Reforms and People's Participation would like to acknowledge the following resource persons, namely Attorney Ivan John Uy, Attorney Alex Ramos, Ms. Bettina Kimson, kindly acknowledge po your presence once called.
Bettina Kimson, present.
Ivan Uy, present.
Yes, if you don't mind, please turn on your video, at least momentarily, and raise your hand because there are quite a few people here. I see Bettina. Thank you. Ivan? Okay. Sige. Ivan, your video there.
Alex Ramos.
Okay. Yeah. Is Alex Ramos around? Yes, Dana?
Yes po, Mr. Alex Ramos, kindly turn on your video and...
Oh, there's Ivan. Thanks. Salamat. Sige. Okay, Dana. Tuloy-tuloy lang po.
Okay po. From Cybercrime Investigation and Coordinating Center, Executive Director Mary Rose Magsaysay.
Oo, para mas madali kong ipapadala.
The OIC Executive Director is General Pipino. Saysay present.
Okay.
OIC Executive Director General Marvin Manuel Pepino, sir.
Okay.
We saw him a while ago po, ma'am. Okay po.
Yes, I saw him. Thank you. Dana, carry on.
Attorney Rexford Ramos.
Okay.
Present po.
Attorney Chris Chu.
Present, Your Honor.
Okay.
From Commission on Elections, Deputy Executive Director for Administration, Helen G. Aguila Flores.
Present, Madam Chair. Good morning po.
Hi, good morning, Director.
Ms. Catherine Isip.
Okay, yeah, no video, but you seem to be there. All right.
Director
Ayun.
Jeannie V.
Okay. Hi,
Florodita.
Kathy. Okay.
Director Jeannie. Ms. Maria Teresa C. Irayola. Attorney Mary Vinduag.
Good morning.
Attorney Carlene Feliciano Moyo.
Present po, present.
Okay.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present.
Good morning po.
Good morning.
From Civil Service Commission, Assistant Commissioner Ariel G. Ronquillo.
Present. Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
From Department of Budget and Management, Ms. Claire Bautista.
Oh, they're here.
Good morning.
Mr. Robin Gumasing. Assistant Director Rosemary Pagal. Okay, and from DICT po, Secretary
Yeah.
Emmanuel Reca Intik.
Yes, Manny. Yeah.
CAC member, Mr. Fernando Contreras Jr.
Good morning
Okay.
po, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
Mr. Omar Castañar.
Omar.
From Democracy Watch, Mr. Paco Pangalangan.
Present.
From Ideals, Attorney Don D. Justiniani.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Present po.
Okay. Yep.
From Lente, Attorney Rona Caritos.
Yep.
Good morning, Chair. Good morning po sa lahat.
Good morning, attorney.
From Manila Bulletin, we have Secretary Arminio Bicoloma Jr.
Sorry, I don't see him on my screen.
Still waiting in the lobby. Ayan.
Okay. All right. Carry on.
Mr. Art Samaniego.
Okay. Yeah. Hi. Okay. Sino pa?
Attorney Joseph Wilson F. Chua.
Good morning,
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Good morning.
From NAMFEL, we have Mr. Angel Averia.
Okay.
Attorney Emir Mendoza.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
And from
Sorry.
PPCRV, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
And from PPCRV, Miss Myla C. Villanueva.
All right. Thanks.
That will be all, Madam Chair.
Good
So,
morning, Madam Chair.
I see Sonny Colomas on the video. Yung DBM, okay na ba si Clarissa? Pwede na siyang sumagot on behalf of DBM? Or do we start with substitution and the other non-DBM items? Clarissa Bautista, I think it was. She's the sole
Good morning,
DBM
Madam Chair.
representative. Is that correct?
Good morning, Madam Chair, if I may. With me are representatives from our legal service.
Yes, you're coming in a little bit garbled there. If you could just speak up.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Madam Chair. With me are representatives from the legal service of the DBM.
Okay,
And,
can you turn on your video? I'm sorry, I'm having difficulty following you. Okay, there we go. Okay, that's Clarissa.
Yes.
Okay, you were saying you have the legal panel of the DBM on board as well?
Yes, Madam Chair. With me are representatives from the legal service and the budget and technical bureau of the department.
Yes. Okay.
Good afternoon
Sige.
po, Madam Chair. Magandang umaga po. Si James Evangelista
Sino
po
yun?
ito. Ako po.
Sench. Okay.
James
All right.
Evangelista po
So,
from the DBM, ma'am.
all right. So we'll start the discussion in the order that's stipulated in the agenda. So, yung una dito is yung people's participation in the national budget process. This is SBN 24 of Senators Lacson and Villanueva, and we also have the House bill that corresponds to the same. This is this is a provision for NGOs to be present in the discourse of the national budget. Already, such a provision exists in the local government code, and as a governor for a long period of time, I'm quite familiar with CSO participation, provided they're accredited. So At this juncture, perhaps we can hear from the DBM. I heard there were, I've seen some position papers of support deriving from ideas and so on. Can we hear from the DBM, please?
Magandang umaga po ulit, Madam Chair, sa amin po minamahal na senador na may dugong baliwagenyo, Ma'am Aimee. Ako po yung taga-Baliwag rin. Regarding po dito, ma'am, sa CSO participation po or people's participation in the national budget process, we acknowledge po the intention of the bill. Actually po, we have submitted our position paper on a similar bill po sa House of Representatives. And we have noted po that currently po, ginagawa naman na po natin ito. At sa katunayan nga po, this would strengthen our participation in the open budget survey. So, meron lamang po kaming mga ilang suggestions po.
Yes, Attorney, perhaps because I'm not in receipt, the committee is not in receipt, I don't think Senator Drilon is in receipt either of that position paper. Siguro kung pwede nyo kaming bigyan dito sa Senado rin nung binigay ninyo sa House.
Yes po ma'am, we'll furnish po right away kay Attorney Dana po nung pong position paper namin and we'll be submitting po a separate position paper for the Senate bills po, Madam Senator.
Okay, sige, salamat.
Apa. But
in general, some reservations.
We support naman po the intention of the bill po. But we have some reservations lang po, particularly po doon sa submission ng CSO report sa DBM. So
yes, I was actually going to ask also, although we're very familiar with this provision and we've complied on the local government side, sa national government, ang sabi kasi dito, documents prepared by DBM, as the minority leader knows, these are mountains upon mountains of paper. And the bill requires that documents prepared by the DBM for submission to Congress should also be provided for all these NGOs.
Yes, ma'am.
It's also a provision here of immediate access to stenographic notes and committee reports. Kami nga mga senador, wala naman kaming immediate access dyan. So, ewan ko, medyo very burdensome yata to.
Opo. Considering din po yung sa mandate din po namin, we don't actually po suggest po na ilagay po yung provision po din sa DBM po dadaan po lahat po ng mga CSO reports. So I think po mas ma-discuss po ito ma'am sa TWG po about this one po.
Yes, perhaps we can manage this. I think the intent is clear and laudable. Kaya nga lang, hindi naman ito katulad ng local government, nakakapraso lang naman yung budget. Kaya kayang-kaya sa lokal, paano kaya sa national? Ano bang maganda? I recall in the World Bank study encouraging people's participation in the budget process, there were two requisites for successful participation. One was that it should be broadly representative. Yung labo-labo na magulo all along the way. So, may recommendation ba yung DBM at which juncture should the CSO participation come in? May input sila na mako-consider. Sa DBCC ba yan? Sa level?
Ang isa po sa sinuggest po namin sa
Nawawala po kayo, attorney.
Yes po, Madam Senator. Sorry po, medyo mahina po yung bandwidth namin kasi naka-full force na po ang DBM is. So, ang isa po suggestion po namin, ma'am, sa position paper is that maybe we can consider po the establishment po ng isang interagency body na magmo-monitor po ng implementation po nitong compliance po ng NGAs po tsaka GOCC. So,
I don't think that's responsive. With all due respect, attorney, that's not responsive to the problem. There are two issues, right? Yung isang bundok na papel, kami na nga, hirap na, gagawin pa ninyo para sa lahat. Pero yung isang issue is yung aling point sila sasama para talaga ma-integrate yung kanilang suggestions dun sa budget mismo. Kasi yung sinasabi mo, mag-interagency committee, mas magulo pa yan. May suggestion ba kayo at which juncture meaningful ang participation ng NGO? Anyone from DBM, please? Maybe the minority leader I saw was grimacing when I was mentioning the documentation requirements. Yes, please, Minority Leader po, Senator Drilon.
Yes, I note the standard imposed or suggested for CSO participation, and that is a meaningful discussion. You know, Madam Chair, when Secretary Briones was heading the Freedom from Debt Coalition, I sat down with her as an NGO at that time and discussed with her the parameters. One thing one impression that was created is, you know, as you said, because of the very broad topics involved, it is very frustrating sometimes. I mean, I do not know if designating certain NGOs, depending on their competence, only to specific topics. I'm just tossing an idea. For example, an NGO which would be steep in knowledge of national defense can, you know, or an NGO in agriculture.
Yes.
So they are accredited by topic and or by subject, and their participation will be only on those subjects. Otherwise, you know, you have, as you said, you know, we are dumped with this position paper, with these briefing materials from all the agencies, and at the end, walang nangyayari. Can you imagine the situation for the NGO is that any better? In fact, it could be worse than us, because at least we have the staff that assist us in analyzing, but an NGO would have would not have the same facility. So the participation is not meaningful. The discourse is not meaningful, and this can be addressed to me by, if you may call it, specialization. Okay. Those NGOs involved in social work, just accredit them for the Department of Social, something like that. So we can have a more meaningful participation rather than an across the board participation of NGO in all aspects of the budget. That's one suggestion that I have. If it can be incorporated or it can be examined so that you can have a meaningful discourse.
Yes, thank you very much, Minority Leader, and Senator Drilon's suggestion is well taken, that they should be by specialization. Siyempre, yung experts sa national defense, dapat hindi na mag-comment sa agriculture. Otherwise, wala na tayo pong katapusan. Perhaps there should be others, though, who have macro knowledge, who can also come in, like Freedom from Debt, and then the NGOs also of Professor Chiquiamco and Bobby Ocampo. Yun, mga macro yun eh. So, pwede siguro sila sa umpisa sa macro principles. And then, the other thing, I think that's well taken, and that should be integrated during the technical working group. I also would like to acknowledge, I see Senator Coco Pimentel present. Thank you very much for joining us. He was the previous chairman, so knows these topics very well. The other issue that I would like the TWG to take note is the World Bank's advice that there should be proper representation of all sectors. As we know very well, the noisier you are, the more represented you are. That shouldn't be the case. There are some sectors that make no noise at all and should be adequately represented, like the PWD, for example, and so on. So, dapat may adequate representation of all, particularly minority groups. So maybe we can take this into consideration. I believe Senator Pimentel, if you have another opinion, everyone is largely in support of this bill requiring NGO participation in the budget process. Kaya nga lang, kailangan na it's operable kasi makang masyadong mabigat yung documentary requirements alone. Senator Pimentel, please. Were you pointing or
I'm okay, Madam Chairperson. But since we're talking about participation of non-governmental organizations in the budget process, maybe some organizations should specialize in the infra budget, the DPWH budget, compliance with that bidding, the bidding law. The procurement law, yan po yata ang hindi sinusunod eh.
Okay, that's a great suggestion. Yes, we'll make sure that there should be adequate representation of procurement, supply, and other experts. Dapat merong ganon. Si Senator Drilon, mukhang nagtaas ng kamay, please.
No more, ma'am. I have already said that, please.
Thank you very much. Although it should be said also na may findings din that corruption occurs in the supply bidding rather than just the DPWH bidding. Yung pinakamadali, yung supply. And I think we're discovering that with so many Blue Ribbon and other committees. So we'll proceed from there. May I instruct now the committee secretary to put together a technical working group at the soonest possible time and try to work out the details that have already been aired by our senators here present. Sana yung DBM, DLO, tulungan kami sa pagbubuo nitong batas na to. Okay? So,
Yes po, Madam Chair.
Yes, sino yun? Sorry,
From the
was
DBM,
not...
DLO po, ma'am.
Sige, tutulong kayo
DLO po, ma'am. Yes po. Yes
Sige.
po, ma'am.
I'm volunteering you. Ganun na talaga eh. Okay. Ang ikalawa natin topic, yung substitution of candidates introduced by Senator Gatchalian. This is Senate Bill 2439 in which he removes withdrawal as a ground for substitution after the date of party substitution and includes incapacity as a ground for substitution. In the meantime, Senator De Lima also submitted an amendment to the substitution bills, and this is to the Section 77 of the Omnibus Election Code, that after the printing of the ballots, the substitute should have the same surname, but she is adding another requisite that substitute should have been a member of the political party of the original candidate during the original period of filing set by COMELEC. I think the concern here is that there should not be any shopping for rock star candidates, as it were, and that instead they should be original members of the party concerned. And furthermore, she indicates that the original candidate, should he be determined a nuisance candidate, the substitution will be invalid. So yun yung mga discussion dito. So meron tayong mga opinions dyan. Perhaps we can hear from COMELEC if the senators would like to hear them first. COMELEC, please, andyan naman kayo. Anong opinion po ninyo dito sa mga bill na tungkol, itong dalawang Senate bills tungkol sa substitution amendments? Anyone from COMELEC, please?
Madam Chair, good morning. This is Attorney Albert Rodriguez, Madam Chair, from COMELEC Law Department.
Yes, please.
Good morning to all honorable senators present and guests of this august body. Ma'am, we already submitted our comments. The Law Department submitted its comments to the ANBANC through the Executive Director. to the
Since we're not in possession of that, can you just give us the salient points?
Yes, Madam Chair. If I may be allowed, Madam Chair,
Sige.
the two bills espoused by the honorable senators, Senate Bill number 2439 and Senate Bill 2461, the Commission fully supports the passage of said bills. This will effectively improve our electoral
Yung
system.
dalawang bill, which one do you support, Attorney?
Both, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Both, Madam Chair. The bills espoused authored by the Honorable Senators Gatchalian, Zubiri, Binay, Poe, and Villanueva, the Commission supports the passage thereof. However, Madam Chair, while we respect the intents of the authors, the Commission would like to clarify or at least seek clarification on incapacity.
Incapacity. Yun nga.
Yes, Madam Chair. What particular acts or events ang pwede pong mag-fall under sa term incapacity? Pwede pong physical, pwedeng medical, pwedeng mental, or maybe baka po financial. So, yun po ang request ng Commission, Madam Chair, Honorable Senators. Baka po pwedeng i-clarify natin kung ano po yung meaning ng incapacity para po mas malinaw po pagdating po ng implementation po ng bill na to kung yun po ay maipasa po bilang batas. That is for Senate Bill 2439, Madam Chair.
That's correct. Pero dun sa Senator De Lima's bill about the substitute being a member at the time of filing, okay kayo doon? So that we can restrict this game of substitution that's taken place.
Actually, Madam Chair, doon po ako papunta. Natapos po natin
Okay,
yung
sorry,
bills po nila.
kita.
Yung pong Senate bill po ni Senator Leila De Lima, Senate Bill 2461, kung titignan po natin, hindi po niya masyadong pinalitan yung pong wordings po ng ating Omnibus Election Code. Nandun pa rin po yung substitution as opposed to Senate Bill 2439 na talagang totally tinanggal po niya substitution. However, Senator De Lima po decided to modify it in such a way to integrate po yun pong mga bagong batas natin like 9006.
Correct.
And then yung pong pronouncement po ng Supreme Court sa kaso po ni Federico versus COMELEC.
Sorry, Attorney Rodriguez, you're breaking up.
Yun pong substitute po in case of death, pag na-print na lota. Madam Chair, okay na po.
Attorney Rodriguez, lapitan mo na lang po yung mic kasi nahihirapan po kami.
In-incorporate rather ni Lima visions of... Hello, Madam Chair? Hello?
Oo, you're
Hello, Madam
breaking
Chair?
up. I'm sorry.
Jan.
Okay. Tuloy-tuloy lang. So, anong gusto ninyo dun sa Senator De Lima's bill?
Sorry for the medyo choppy po ang aking line, Madam Chair.
Sige,
however,
malapit ka, parang maririnig ka namin.
Sorry po, ma-fault po dahil nakamas po. But going back, Senator De Lima incorporated provisions of 9006, Republic Act 9006 on substitution of candidates. Likewise, the doctrine laid down by the Supreme Court in the Federico versus COMELEC case, wherein the court said that upon the time na ma-print po yung balota, any substitute po dapat same surname. Yan po yung linalagay ni Senator De Lima. So we support po yung kanyang measure na yon. And then yun pong sinabi nyo kanina on membership to political parties, ang ika-clarify lang po namin dyan, Madam Chair, kasi po nakalagay dito that it can be a ground for a cancellation due to misrepresentation. So we would like to make clarification po if this particular bill has an effect, effectively modifying or repealing Section 78 of the Omnibus Election Code.
That's correct.
Yes, which states po the grounds for cancellation due to misrepresentation. Kasi yung Section 78 po, wala po nakalagay doon on party membership. That particular provision po has been explained by the Supreme Court in the old case of Luz versus COMELEC, wherein it stated that grounds for cancellation due to misrepresentation should pertain to the qualification of a candidate, which he or she misrepresented in his or her COC. So dito po sa bill na Madam Senator De Lima, inagay po niya rito that any misrepresentation as to party membership can be a ground for a cancellation due to misrepresentation. So yun lang po ika-clarify namin, Madam Chair. Will this have an effect of repealing or modifying Section 78? Kasi po baka nag-file ng cancellation, magkaroon po tayo ng iba't ibang interpretasyon po dito sa batas po na ito, ma'am. Yun lang po, Madam Chair.
Yes, that's correct. Are there any ideas? Would anyone have any insight with regard to Senator De Lima's limitation regarding the original period of filing? Parang ang impression na nakuha ko, meron ng mga regulations o issuances yung COMELEC tungkol dyan eh.
Yes, Madam Chair, for purposes of this coming 2022 elections, ang ruling resolution po ng Commission dyan, Madam Chair, is Resolution 10717, wherein it states there po kung kailan pwedeng mag-withdraw, kailan pwedeng mag-substitution, and then of course po yung implementation provision ng batas that you can only that a withdrawing candidate or in case of death or disqualification po, pwede lang magkaroon ng substitute in case na meron siyang political party. And then, Madam Chair, nakalimutan ko lang pong i-mention, may provision po rito sa last part nung bill po ni Senator De Lima, if I may be allowed po, sinabi po niya is that, quote, the substitution due to withdrawal shall be without prejudice to any proceeding to declare original candidate
as nuisance
candidate. So ang tanong ko lang po namin dito, Madam Chair, ang ibig po bang sabihin ng ating distinguished author dito is that kapag let's say, si Juan de la Cruz ay tumakbo bilang senador at nagpa-substitute siya kay Pedro Santos, na i-file na ni Pedro Santos yung kanyang COC as substitute, ang intention po ba ni Madam Senator De Lima rito ay pwede pa ring filean ng kaso as to declare as nuisance candidate yung nauna, yung original? Kasi ang concern po namin dito, Madam Chair, kapag ang isang kandidato po ay nag-withdraw na, wala na po siyang COC at baka mahirapan na po natin siya i-declare na nuisance dahil hindi na po siya kandidato. Yun po yung aming concern dito. Yes, Madam Chair. Yun po yung gusto namin linawin dito sa part na to, Madam Chair.
And can no longer be declared nuisance nga kasi no longer candidate.
Yes, Madam Chair. Yun po, Madam Chair, on behalf of the Commission po, and then after approval of the unbank, we will transmit to this committee po yung aming pong position paper to the two proposed bills, Madam Chair.
Yes, and forgive me, I can't seem to find the citation. There's a much newer bill. There's a much newer Supreme Court ruling, I believe by former Chief Justice Sereno, yung making a distinction about substitution if it was extant at the time of the filing or if the grounds were later on. I can't seem to find the citation. It's a fairly new one written by Chief Justice Sereno at the time. I'm wondering if that should also be incorporated na rin in the event that we are really going to amend this law. May distinction Substitution can be made only if it was a condition that arose thereafter versus a problem that was existing at the time of the filing, in which case disqualification is tantamount to cancellation and no substitution can occur. Do you recall that case? I cannot remember the title.
Madam Chair, I will recheck, Madam Chair. I will also revisit the case, Madam Chair. Para po mas
Yes.
ma-discuss po natin na maayos, Madam Chair.
Hindi kasi may ganun eh. Kung lilinawin na natin yung substitution, dagdag na natin yon kasi jurisprudence na po siya.
Yeah, Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator Pimentel, please.
The bills are not before me, so general comments na lang po.
Yes,
no?
please.
Election law should not be this complicated. So if we are going to amend section C, ano na lang din natin, we take into account even jurisprudence, and if we disagree with the ruling, we can also change it by clarifying provisions of law. Ganun po yun kasi ang jurisprudence, they are supposed to be interpreting the then current provisions of law. So if we change the wording of the law, jurisprudence the decision should follow. So i-simplify na lang natin lahat kasi
Masyado nang magulo, no? At saka masyado ng detalye at higit sa lahat, pabago-bago rin naman kung minsan ng Supreme Court, sa totoo lang.
Yan na nga, ma'am. So masyado na nga. So if we can clarify it na lang din, maybe a new election code is due.
Yes, I've been campaigning for a consolidated new omnibus election code kasi yung omnibus election code natin 1981 pa eh.
Baka Madam Chair, mag-code commission na rin tayo on omnibus election code, code commission.
Yes.
And then ito matagal ko na tong tinatanong actually sa COMELEC eh. Yung andyan si Attorney Rodriguez, so if he can answer representing the legal division, legal department. Yung same surname requirement, where did that come from? Kasi ganitong ang basa ko kasi sa election laws natin or ang dapat direksyon ng election rules and laws natin is to strengthen political parties, not families. Ganun na nangyari. When you now make it a same surname requirement, you are actually siding with strengthening a family instead of a party. Kaya ang aking point is, so what if the name of the candidate has been printed on the ballot and then he or she is disqualified? The right to substitute belongs not to the family, not to the candidate, but to the political party. So for as long as the political party procedure is followed, the leadership as registered in the COMELEC is followed, their constitution is followed, and they now nominate a substitute with a different surname, responsibility na ng political party yun to tell the people that this printed name has been disqualified and your vote for this one will be for our substitute. It doesn't have to be the same surname, but unless there is really a legal basis, hindi ko po talaga, tanong na ako ng tanong nito, how many election cycles ko na tinatanong ito eh.
By way of information, Senator Coco, nahingi ko rin to, it occurs in Section 12 of the Fair Election Act, RA 9006, that the substitute candidate of the same family name, yun ang nakatakda doon sa Section 12 Fair Election. So yun yung family name. Doon naman sa Omnibus Election Code natin, yung Section 77 po yan, na very clear yung intent to strengthen parties such that only the party can nominate a substitute. So, ang interpretation ng ating election lawyers, pati ng COMELEC, naging dalawa yung requirement, yung same party at saka same family name. Naging dalawa. Tama, no? Attorney Rodriguez, di ba ganun yun? Parang ganun ang paliwanag lagi sa akin eh.
Ganito kasi, ma'am meron yung sabi that if the substitute candidate of the same family name is, this provision shall not apply.
Yes.
So in effect, it does not. I mean, Section 12 of the law that you cited discusses the possibility that the substitute candidate has the same family name, and then what is the effect? But it does not make it a requirement.
Sure. I suppose naging interpretation na lang yon kasi naka-imprenta na yung ballot. Hindi na pwedeng paltan.
Correct. So that the vote for that party candidate who has been disqualified and substituted should now go to the substitute who may be of a different surname. Ano na yan eh? It's the oval, it's the place in the ballot which belongs now to the substitute of that political party. That's my point. So responsibility ng political party yun to tell the people that your vote for our original candidate ABC is now a vote for XYZ, who is our substitute. So ganun po sana kasi we have to strengthen yan ang aking point. It's a political party. I mean,
And not dynasty.
Angal tayo ng angal sa dynasty, and yet we have some interpretation and some rules na promoting family before political party.
Yes, Attorney Rodriguez, any response to that? Can the case be made that this is not in fact a requirement, but it's the opposite? Kayo?
Madam Chair, with the indulgence of all present po, no, napansin ko po nandito rin po yung aming mga deputy executive directors. Of course, ma'am, I am not part of the commission, so I am not part of the policy making body. No? But of course, Madam Chair, in my personal opinion, I agree with the observation of Senator Pimentel. Medyo may loopholes nga po talaga. Marami pong butas yung ating batas. Kasi po yung na-mention dito na Section 12, 9006, it was promulgated po 2001 pa. Manual pa po tayo noon. And then,
yung Omnibus Election Code, mas lalong manual pa, 1981.
Yes, Madam Chair. 1980s pa po iyon. And then itong 9006, 2001. And then here comes 8436 as amended by 9369, mandating the use of an automated electoral system. So nakikita na po natin, Madam Chair, yung mga loopholes, yung mga kailangan nating i-plug. And yan po yung sinasabi ko kanina that I agree with the observation of the Honorable Senator Pimentel, the former head din po ng committee na ito. Marami po talagang dapat ayusin sa po niya, dapat simple. So, sa akin po, na maganda po yung timing ng pagpa-file ng bills ni na Senator De Lima, ni na Senator Grace po, Senator Gatchalian, para po mapunuan natin yung mga kakulangan na ito. Yun pong substitution, same surname, mukhang ang nakikita ko lang po ay etong decision ng Korte sa Federico versus Commission on Elections and Maligaya na kaso. And hindi ko po sure kung meron pong provision about the same surname.
So we're breaking
nakikita
up
na po natin yung problems. It's about time po that we fill. Yes, ma'am. Meron pong holes and that we can make electoral reforms po stage of this bill po. Pwede po natin punan po yung mga kakulangan po at kailangan pong aayusin po sa ating current election laws po.
Yes, but before we constitute the TWG and I enjoin the COMELEC legal stalwarts to please participate, talaga namang tama na dapat simple lang. Kasi saksakan na ng gulo nitong substitution. While on the other hand, we know that it's been exploited and abused by too many of us politicians. Kailangan simple lang para hindi masyadong magulo. So with that, if there are no further comments from the group, are there any of the NGOs, Lente, Ideas, and PPCRV, NAMFREL, meron ba kayong idadagdag sa discussion tungkol sa substitution? Is there anyone who'd like to bolt in? Kung wala naman, tuloy-tuloy na tayo mag-TWG dyan. And if you could give us your best inputs so that we can come up with a substitution amendment that prohibits the abuse of this provision at the same time keeping it simple for everyone to comply. So with that, we go to the third item on the agenda, the increasing power of COMELEC. Back to DBM. We seem to have had a hearing on a similar Senate bill regarding the same topic as the House bill, ano? And this basically says that COMELEC is systemically undermanned, one election assistant, the contractual employees, and then the disgraceful squatting of COMELEC in provincial and regional areas in LGU property kasi wala silang pambayad ng sariling space, and then all the other problems. Ang tanong ko kasi dito, meron na kasing Senate bill na ganito, yung DBM, ang sabi, kung talagang itutupad itong bill na to, aabot sa 10 billion ang requirement. The House bill merely says it should be charged against current available appropriations. Alam natin na decrease na yung COMELEC, naghabol tayo na madagdagan, pero ang point is, wala na siyang current available anything, ano, sa totoo lang. So, I wanted to know from the DBM, ano ba magagawa natin dito? We're all deeply concerned about the dire lack of personnel as well as rentals. Is there anyone who'd like to comment from the DBM?
Good morning po ulit, Madam Chair. This
Yes,
is
good
James
morning.
Evangelista from the DLO po, DBM. So, we would like to mention po, Madam Chair, that as informed by the COMELEC Finance Officer po, sa ngayon po, yung mga field offices po natin, ang nagpo-provide po nun ay ang LGU. It's charged against the
Yun
funds
na.
of the concerned LGUs. So,
Kaya
as
nga
of March 9,
kaya nga nagre-reklamo kapag opposition ka sa local, talaga naman nakaupo doon sa paupahan ng gobernador o ng mayor, mainit ang ulo ng opposition, syempre, ano?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. So, we also consider that po. Pero as of now po, meron na po tayong 1,769 na field offices po as of March 9.
Ibig sabihin, ilan ang kulang?
I think po COMELEC po can better identify po kung ilan po talaga yung kukulangin po nila. And given the fact po na kung itatransfer po natin, Madam Chair, yung pong funding po nito from the LGU to the COMELEC proper, baka pwede rin pong ma-consider din po yung capability po ng COMELEC to implement po yung project, particularly po yung construction.
Hindi, wala namang budget ang LGU dyan. Naka-squat lang yung COMELEC sa premises ng LGU, sa Kapitolyo, sa City Hall, kung saan-saan.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Wala pa kukunan sa LGU niyan eh. Wala naman silang budget dyan eh.
Yes po. Pero yun po, if ilipat po ma'am sa COMELEC po yung funding,
I think there's no funding to be moved, attorney. There's no funding in the local governments there. They just carve out a space, sometimes a quite undignified and uncomfortable space, so that the COMELEC will have offices. But there's no actual budget that you can transfer from one unit to the next.
Yes po, Madam Chair. So, pero going po ma'am dun sa creation po ng additional position naman po tayo, ma'am. Meron po tayo, ma'am, field positions. Ang authorized position po is 5,714. Ang field pa lang po nila is 4,802. So, may 912 pa po na unfilled. So, regarding po sa additional positions, we suggest po na instead po na automatic creation po ng mga positions po of election officers, the COMELEC can actually request naman po to the DBM for evaluation of approval po nung mga magagamit po nila or kakailanganin po nilang plantilla positions for the upcoming year po.
Yes, attorney, pero alam naman po natin na DBM is most hesitant to create new positions. It's hardly automatic. And if they do, it takes forever, di ba? Kasi mahamang proseso yun. May DBM, may CSC, tapos ang tagal-tagal. So itong automatic creation, yun yata ang gustong gawin. Subalit napakahirap talaga niyan kasi alam natin na pagkatagal-tagal unless, yun nga, linagay nila automatic. So what's our sense here? We're all for strengthening and broadening the presence of the COMELEC. Wala lang tayong pera. Paano kaya dito? May pagkukunan ba to, DBM or COMELEC? Is there anyone from DBM proper? Hazel Iligan, Iris Iship, kanina si Clarissa Bautista. Anyone else from DBM who can discuss budget here?
Sorry po, Madam Chair. Medyo mahina po yung signal kaya napuputol po ako.
Yes, the estimated amount for effective implementation of this is upwards of 10 billion, Senator Coco. Kaya parati na i-stack up ito eh. Kaya lang, alam naman natin, hindi talaga maganda yung kaayusan ng COMELEC sa iba't ibang probinsya. Ano mabuting gawin? So, DBM, may suggestion ba kayo? Obviously, 10 billion is a huge amount. COMELEC, is there a way to do this na dahan-dahan? I-face kaya natin. Hindi ba pwedeng i-face to kahit 5 years? At least masimulan, di ba? Kawawa naman eh. Tiisin muna natin yung squatter premises. Pero yung one election officer for every 20,000, siguro kailangan yan. What do you think? Yes, somebody from DBM, please. Hindi ba pwedeng gawing 5-year plan to or something? 3 to 5-year plan para lang maumpisan?
Yes po, may we acknowledge po Ma'am Hazel Ilagan from the DBM Budget Operations po.
Okay, Hazel, please.
If I may, Madam Chair.
Yes.
Senator, I agree with you na it could be made in tranches since kasi medyo limited po ang fiscal space po natin.
That's
We
right.
can do that. Yeah, COMELEC can propose for the budgetary provision of the field offices, but it will be subject to the usual budgeting process and the available fiscal space po.
Yes, clearly, this is way too late for the present electoral exercise, pero sana naman 2025 kahit pa paano nadagdagan na. Diba? Para sa 2025 elections, medyo maginhawaan naman yung ating field offices. Kahit mag-umpisa na muna doon, wag na muna sa rental space, tiis-tiis muna dyan kasi mabigat din eh. Halos 1.6 billion ang estimate natin dyan. Pero yung personnel ang pinakamabigat. Perhaps the COMELEC HR can propose who are the ones that most urgently need COMELEC officers and personnel. Is there anyone from COMELEC HR or can reply for COMELEC? COMELEC, please. Hindi naman final to eh. Basta somebody to work on this na. Kasi we've been kicking this can down the road so many times. I think we need to get started. But we need COMELEC's input, which is the most important. Doon muna tayo mag-umpisa kahit 3 years. Unti-unti na.
Mitch, ano sinasabi? Hindi ko marinig.
Sorry.
Ano daw? May sinabi na siya after ko?
Hazel? Is that Hazel or COMELEC? Dana, can you call COMELEC, please?
Personnel, please.
Sino po yun? Anyone from COMELEC, please reply. Can we start working on this with your HR? Which are the most important parts of this bill such that we can start working towards it in the next couple of years? COMELEC? Kayong humihingi nito, ngayon di kayo sumasagot, pambihirang buhay ito. Natatawa na lang si Senator Coco kasi panahon pa niya, ganito na yung usapan eh. COMSEC, can we call on someone from COMELEC to help us here?
Miss Maria Teresa, ma'am, of COMELEC, low bandwidth po sila ngayon.
Okay. So we will just instruct them, Senator Coco is not authorized ba? Utusan na lang natin to work on a 3 to 5 year plan.
I so move, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator Coco. Yes, COMELEC Director Iraula responded, and she's online. She said it's noted on the matter. So if you can please come to some kind of phasing arrangement with DBM na masimula na to. I recommend na yung hiring, yun na ang unahin natin. Kaya lang, aling grupo ba ang dapat i-hire dito? Kasi kulang-kulang talaga. Yung regional, siguro pwede natin i-hold off muna yan. Pero yung creation of election officers, urgent na yan. Talagang kulang-kulang. Hirap na sila. So, did Lente want to speak? I saw attorney raising her hand. Is that correct?
No, Senator Marcos, I'm not raising my hand, but I
Ay,
just want
sorry.
to say, I just want
Okay,
to say
tumatakbo lang kayo. Okay,
yes, I just want
thanks,
to say
Ona.
thank you, Senator Marcos. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, with that, the committee secretary is instructed to put together, if not immediately a technical working group, a group of DBM as well as COMELEC HR to work on a 3 to 5 year plan to make this bill a reality. Until then, it will be very difficult to approve this, all of us knowing full well the lack of any fiscal wiggle room at this point in time. Thank you very much. We come to the last item on the agenda, and that is the alleged breach of COMELEC data servers introduced by Senator Tolentino, myself, and Senator Pacquiao. We have here former Secretary Coloma, who was also present at the JCOC, the representative or reporter of the bulletin, Art Samaniego, is also here today. During the JCOC, Director James Jimenez refuted the information from bulletin. The ICT-OIC Director Sana reported that it was highly unlikely that the data was hacked, as the DICT, which hosts the website of COMELEC, did not see it in the logs of download activities. The CICC Director Cesar Mancao, who was the representative of the institution at the JCOC, remarked that the agency, i.e. COMELEC, had not been hacked, but instead it was Smartmatic that was actually compromised. They requested for an executive session, but we have been encountering all sorts of difficulties for a face-to-face executive session. And COMELEC Commissioner Marlon Casquejo reported that only non-sensitive information, voter precincts, voting centers, and publicly available information were given to Smartmatic. So, imposible daw ma-hack yung mga delikadong impormasyon. I think the National Privacy Commission also requested information from the COMELEC, which COMELEC said was far and away too private to be shared. So we're sort of at a crossroads on this. I'd like to invite all the members all the resource persons who are here, starting with Secretary Coloma, former secretary, and Mike Kailian, to perhaps refresh everyone's memory regarding this JCOC investigation. Yes, please, Sunny.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In the previous
Yes, is there anything you would like to add as to the responsibility of the Manila Bulletin in this regard?
Yes, Madam Chair. In the previous meeting, we pointed out that our publication, the Manila Bulletin, performed its journalistic duty of reporting the news, and this pertained to the incident that was to which our technology editor and writer, Art Samaniego, was privy. And Mr. Samaniego also narrated to this committee the circumstances of the discovery of what appeared to be a data breach involving data pertaining to the elections. I think the commission has disputed the initial report that it was their server that had been hacked. We have published the COMELEC clarification, and in the subsequent report, we have indicated that it was a breach on the election data, and the side of the COMELEC was properly represented. We have also received requests from the National Privacy Commission to furnish it with information that have been acquired by us, and we have already complied with such requests. We also complied with the request of the committee aired by Senator Tolentino that proper restraint be exercised in the reporting of such events, and we have observed the same, Madam Chair. And as we came into this meeting, we were just anticipating possible reports or updates on the executive session, which you have already given today. And as far as I am concerned, we have no more points to contribute at this point, unless we are asked by you or by members of the committee. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, I was going to ask you because during the JCOC hearing, reporter Art Samaniego had trouble with his internet. Has he been able to put down his position properly? Kasi parang hirap na hirap siya nun eh. Magsalita, hindi namin marinig.
Yes,
Andito
Madam
ba
Chair.
siya?
Mr. Samaniego is here, and if you and the committee would allow, he is prepared to read the statement, and we hope that it can be delivered seamlessly. Mr.
Oo nga
Samaniego
eh.
is here,
Pero
Your Honor.
i-clear na lang po ninyo. Sige, we recognize the reporter, in this case, Art Samaniego, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, COMSEC?
Mr. Art Samaniego? Kindly unmute.
Yes, you're recognized. Mr. Samaniego, the chair recognizes the reporter of Manila Bulletin, please.
I can't. Hello?
Yes,
Good
hello.
evening, Madam Chair.
You can be heard, you can be seen.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to read again my statement, Madam Chair.
Oh, sige. Just pick up the salient points because we've been through this in the JCOC before.
Okay. I would just like to answer the statement of Director Jimenez.
Yes, that's correct. Because I think he challenged you at the JCOC.
Yes, Madam Chair. All the files that were forwarded to Manila Bulletin Tech News appear to be COMELEC related and supposed to be under COMELEC's protection. We, however, received the files from a third-party source. So what we verified is the possible data breach because we have sensitive data that appears to be owned by COMELEC that someone outside the election body has access to. This is the reason why the story says there is a possible ongoing data breach.
Right.
So, ayun po.
Yes, I recall that Director James Jimenez refuted the information that you provided that in fact, it was impossible to hack information that wasn't there in the first place, parang ganon. Pero you verified through a third-party source that an ongoing breach was possibly occurring. So have I restated that properly?
Yes, Madam Chair, because all the files and the directory that we saw could only be verified by COMELEC.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone in COMELEC? Yes po. Is there anyone in COMELEC? I think at the JCOC, it was Commissioner Marlon Casquejo However, we have perhaps ICT COMELEC represented here today. Would anyone from COMELEC like to comment on what occurred? May IT tayo ng COMELEC na mga gustong magsalita?
Director Jeannie Flororita, ma'am, please.
Yes, Director Florida. Andyan po kayo? Hindi ko kasi kayo makita sa aking screen.
Also, Director James Jimenez po.
Is Director James present?
Also online. Yes, ma'am.
Hindi ko kasi makita. Teka. Ayan, there's James. Hey, James. Yeah, Director James, I think Art Samaniego says that in fact a third-party source, which was verified, warned of an ongoing breach. So you refuted the claim, as I recall, saying that such hacking could not have occurred given that the information did not exist at that point in time. Is that correct?
That's
Director
correct.
James, please.
Madam Chair, thank you very much. Yes, that is correct. One of the claims made by the article of the Manila Bulletin was that, in fact, there was an ongoing hack of the Commission's records. If I may, just to clarify, the statement of the COMELEC at that time basically said that the Manila Bulletin claimed to have verified this information, but it did not show how it verified the information, number one. And number two, nor did it prove that it had in fact verified the information, which led to the result that the COMELEC essentially said that how can this have been a verified hack if on the very basic level of this information not existing, this hack could not have happened. That was our argument at the time, Madam Chair. And as you noted, in the JCOC, this was already ventilated. So, yun, that's where we're at right now.
But moving forward, given that this has been highlighted by the media, by Manila Bulletin and Art Samaniego in particular, has the COMELEC undertaken additional security safeguards that have been recommended by many of our IT experts, including Ivan Uy, IT Gutierrez, and the rest who are still here with us today? Marami silang recommendations for safeguards. Has there been any improvement in the security of our transmission and so on?
Madam Chair, thank you very much. I would like to defer on that matter to our IT Director, Director Jeannie Flororita, who is here in the room with us. Except that earlier, I think she was having trouble with her audio.
Yes, okay. May we call on Director Florida in that case?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Director Jimenez. Yes, please. Where's Director Florida, please? Wala po kayong audio, baka muted po kayo. Yes, Secretary Dana, COMSEC. Is that Director Florida? I see someone speaking, but I can't hear a word. Oh.
She's having problems with audio po.
That doesn't bode well for May 9 if COMELEC ICT cannot be heard during the Senate hearing.
Madam Chair, may I? I
Yes,
think she
please.
has to exit the room and go back in so that she has to exit and go back in. Thank you.
All right. In the meantime, while we're waiting for COMELEC ICT to actually get in, we would like to recognize Acting Secretary of the ICT, Monica Intik, kasi kayo ang in charge ng website ng COMELEC. And I believe yet Director Sana, who was in the JCOC, said that they saw nothing in the logs of downloads, indicating that 60 gigabytes of data, a fairly large amount of data, was actually downloaded by such third party. Tama ba yun, Secretary Kainte?
Alright, thank you, Madam Chair. Ang pinagpasihan po namin, ma'am, ang kinompare natin is that yung may claim na 60 gigabytes. So number one muna, yung datos na nasa article ay hindi siya parehas doon sa makikita sa COMELEC servers na sa mga systems na i-host ng DICT. Precinct Finder po yon at saka COMELEC results. Wala pa po yung system, hindi pa po natin ina-up. So, at saka kung titingnan mo at ikukumpara mo yung datos, ang nandun po sa article ay mga IDs of the VCMs. Hindi po yon kasama sa hino-host ng mga systems sa ating DICT websites for the COMELEC, for the elections po.
I see. And then your director also made mention of the quantum of download, no? Sabi niya sobrang dami ng 60 gigabytes na hindi mapapansin. Tama ba yon?
Hindi. At in a sense, tama po yun, ma'am. Kasi una, hindi rin ganun kalaki yung datos nung kung halimbawa, yung Precinct Finder, hindi naman 60 gigabytes yun eh. Konti lang po.
I see. So small memory lang ang required, hindi talaga sa 60 gigabyte.
Yung kabuuhang datos na yon, nauna sa lahat, wala pa nga sa amin kasi hindi pa tayo nag-up noon. Hindi ganun din kalaki. But again, it all boils down to the fact that we haven't even turned the systems up yet. We are still in the preparation phase. Pero malapit na rin po yon for everyone's benefit, information. Malapit na namin i-live yung Precinct Finder and then i-ready din ang COMELEC results server. Thank you po.
So in fact, you corroborate your director's testimony during the JCOP that it was most unlikely. Tama po yun. So I think at this juncture, Bettina Kimson, a representative of IT, would like to jump in with some observations. Yes, you're recognized, Ms. Kimson.
Thank you so much. Your Honor, I guess I'm a little confused because NPC is the body that's in charge of checking into the privacy issues. Yet COMELEC has refused to provide them the information needed. But I think that since they're undergoing an investigation already, maybe we can hear from them as to what they have found so far. The National Privacy Commission po.
Yes, that's right. I'm aware of certain disputes that and the National Privacy Commission have had, given the allegedly inordinate amount of data being requested by the NPC. So may I hear from the NPC? The National Privacy Commission is actually present. Maybe you can speak for yourselves and better explain what actually is occurring.
Good morning, Senator. Good morning.
Yes, Paul. Yes, please identify yourself. You're Michael Santos, tama?
I'm Attorney Michael Santos, Chief of the Complaints Investigation Division of the National Privacy Commission. Well, as to our investigation, Honorable Senator, ang nakita po
kasi may reklamo kasi na ayaw ibigay ng COMELEC yung datos na hinihingi ninyo. Sabi naman ng COMELEC, labis-labis naman yung hinihingi ninyo. They'll be violating naman privacy of their own. So, paano ba yun?
Well, may hinihingi po kaming certain documents. Nagbibigay naman po ang COMELEC, pero meron pa kami ibang documents na hinihingi na to their point of view is governed by exclusive jurisdiction ng COMELEC. Pero based dun sa mga nakuha naming information, ang mandate lang po namin is on personal data.
Yes.
So, may nakita kaming mga personal information that tinignan namin yung reference dates to previous years po, mga 2015, 2016. And it appears we concur with our colleagues from other agencies na these are not from COMELEC servers.
I see. They're not from COMELEC servers at all.
Yes, from yung nag-gather po namin information, indication, not from COMELEC servers.
So you actually concur with both the ICT and COMELEC itself, is that correct?
From the initial findings, yes, Senator.
Yes. What other findings will you come up with, given that your charter only mandates that you secure personal information? Papalawakin pa ba ninyo yung itong investigasyon na to at dito na tayo?
Senator, well, we're looking into yung verifying yung authenticity ng mga personal information, yung document containing personal information, and to actually pinpoint kung nasaan yung hack. Pero from the artifacts, yung kabuuan po ng artifacts, yung initial conclusion namin is not from COMELEC servers, maybe from a third party engaged by COMELEC. But we are not actually concluding na wala nang responsibility si COMELEC, because as a personal information controller, we will determine pa po kung ano yung responsibility niya on that personal information.
Yes, at this point, is there anyone from COMELEC? Thank you very much, Attorney NPC. At this point in time, is there anyone in COMELEC who's prepared to answer? The NPC has just mentioned a very provocative piece of information, and that is perhaps a third party engaged by COMELEC. We're all aware of the controversy surrounding the Rappler MOA and so on and so forth. Who could that third party engaged by COMELEC be? From the NPC, sino-sino ang pwedeng third party na yan na nag-release or na-leak yung information or na-hack? Who could those third parties be that would have such personal information? Not necessarily from COMELEC, but adequately equipped to have such information. Kayo, sa NPC.
We concur po with the observation of the CICC, and if possible, we request for an executive session po.
Oh, okay. So you are pointing to Smartmatic in the same manner that CICC is? Attorney? At least as per your initial investigation?
Initially po, that's our lead po, Senator.
So your prime suspect, as it were, is Smartmatic, similar to the CICC, is that correct?
That is correct, Senator.
Okay. Is there anyone, ComSec, from Smartmatic here?
None, Madam Chair. We failed to invite Smartmatic po, ma'am.
Sorry?
We failed to invite Smartmatic. No Smartmatic po, ma'am, in this hearing.
Yes. Given that the Smartmatic was already was already mentioned as the third party subject of that leak, I think it's important we contact them as soon as possible so that they can explain themselves. I think Hubert was putting something up in the chat. I didn't quite catch it. It disappeared so quickly. Yes, Hubert, please. Something to do with the public knowledge of FB and so on.
Madam Senator, I don't think it's me who placed anything in the public chat.
Oh, so sorry. Is there anyone else who'd like to comment on this third party consideration? Yes, somebody's raising his hand. I'm sorry, please identify yourself. I don't have your name down here. Yes, Alex, yeah.
Yeah, it's already the Facebook page of JSOX. What those artifacts that are being referred to.
JSOX, okay. And what does it mean? I'm sorry, I don't quite understand what you mean.
There's a FB account.
Okay.
Ang pangalan is JSOX. You can see all of these materials.
All materials?
All the materials being mentioned that were hacked from Smartmatic, allegedly from Smartmatic. That's why I was about to ask the question, has Smartmatic or COMELEC made any protest with Facebook, because it's all up. It's been over a month that it's been up.
Huh. Yes, COMELEC, please. Still no response. COMELEC, please. Any response to the report from Mr. Alex Ramos that in fact all this information is up on Facebook?
And the Facebook account is still up, by the way, until today.
Okay. Any response from COMELEC? Clearly, there are security issues involved that have not been rectified in any way. Is
Madam
there no
Chair.
one from? Yes. Is
Madam
there no one
Chair.
from COMELEC left? Yes.
Anyway, there are contents there that refer to certain personalities in COMELEC with their phone numbers and their emails. I mean, it may have been an exchange of email between COMELEC and Smartmatic. So there are private information there. But as far as the content of the JSOCs, those are irrelevant for the upcoming elections. These are my comments.
Oh, so Alex, you surmise that in fact they're irrelevant for the upcoming elections. In what way are they irrelevant?
No, they are irrelevant.
That's why. Why do you say they're irrelevant? Because they're, after all, private emails are always juicy bits of information.
Yeah. Well, for one, the old data that they have
I
are
see.
still probably owned by Smartmatic because it was only last year that the COMELEC bought the data and it's been
Yes.
updated. And as far as database is concerned, there's no database pertaining to the current database that COMELEC is and PSA has been producing for the past years. It's not
Yes.
included there.
Oo,
It has
tama.
only-
Yun din ang sabi ng NPC, di ba? Na mga old data, old addresses, old personal information. So para magkapareho kayo. COMSEC, please. Is there anyone from COMELEC we can talk to here? Naku po. Hindi pa nag-e-election, malayo-layo pa. Wala na yung COMELEC.
Jeannie's already on screen, ma'am.
Yes,
Director
Director who?
Director Jeannie Flororita po.
Yes, but Director Jeannie's been on screen forever. I just can't hear a word. Yes, Director Florida. Kanina ka pa, pero hindi kita marinig. Nakamute ka ba?
Hear me.
Yes, Director, please. Yes, Director Florida. Yes. Jeannie, yes, Jeannie, please, you're recognized by the chair.
Jeannie naman.
Oh. Patay tayo nito, yung COMELEC ICT, layo-layo pa ng May 9, kaput na. Bigla kami nervyos. Naku, Senator Coco, paano ba to? Naku, Jeannie. Pwede ka mag-chat na lang dito sa gilid. Mababasa naman namin kasi yung audio mo talaga is gone. Okay, in the meantime, I think Ms. Kimson is in disagreement with both NPC as well as Mr. Alex Ramos. Ayun, okay. Director Florida. Okay. Yes, Ms. Kimson, please. In the meantime, habang nag-iintay po.
I'm so sorry. Madam Chairwoman, I happen to disagree with what Mr.
Okay.
said. I believe that the data, from what I have seen so far, that the data that was exposed is actually processes of the election system, no? And I think that is very important because once processes are put out for people to review, the processes normally stay the same and some of the data will also be the same. Not necessarily all, but some of them. So I think there is a cause to worry and to dig deeper into this. Those are my observations, Madam Chair.
But once again, you're pinpointing Smartmatic as opposed to COMELEC, except that they are the third party contracted by COMELEC.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. That's important. Can we get anyone from COMELEC? Wala pa rin? COMSEC, please. Okay, that being the case, there are those who haven't commented yet. Would anyone like to speak from CICC? I understand until now you have not had your executive session. Is there anything you'd like to share with us in the meantime? CICC was represented at the JCOC by Director Cesar Mancao, who in agreement with PICT stated that the website of COMELEC was not hacked, but that in fact Smartmatic's information was compromised. So, ibig ba ninyo dagdagan CICC?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, General, you're recognized. General Pepino, you're recognized.
Yes, ma'am. Magandang umaga po, Senator Amy Marcos and the body po, ma'am. I am Police Major General Marvin Manuel Pepino, retired, the officer in charge of the CICC. And for the information of the body, ma'am, the CICC Executive Director Cesar Mancao II is attending a regional conference in Colombo, Sri Lanka on COVID-19 related cybercrime and electronic evidence in Asia. And I was designated as the officer in charge from March 7 to March 21. Likewise, ma'am, as OIC, I have limited authority which can be confined to functions and administration in ensuring the office continues its usual activities. With this, ma'am, my apologies that I am not in liberty to give further details as to the ongoing nor the result of the CICC's investigation on the matter, ma'am. And may I respectfully turn over the virtual floor to our Chief Legal, Attorney Chris Chu, ma'am.
Yes, Attorney Chris Chu, please.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the Senate and the House of Representatives. We, again, in as much as we wanted to share our findings, we just like to reiterate our request that the same be made through executive session, Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm getting a lot of reverberation. If you could kindly please turn off all other gadgets in the meantime that Attorney Chu is speaking. Yes, please. Attorney Chu, please proceed.
Yes, Madam Chair, and again, if I may repeat, good morning to the members of the Senate and members of the House, as well as other delegates from different agencies and private sectors. We just like to reiterate our request that for an executive session, considering the sensitivity of the whatever informations or discussions during the subject matter, Madam Chair.
Yes, all right. Ms. Magsaysay, you have the same opinion that we should have an executive session. We're having great trouble organizing an executive session with the House. Would a Senate executive session suffice, given that this is also the topic of a committee hearing?
Yes, Madam Chair, that would be enough. If,
kasi hindi namin mabuo-buo yung House dahil nangangampanya na lahat eh. Medyo mahirap na kasi magkaisa. So I'm perfectly happy to conduct one at the soonest possible time. So perhaps we can get the committee secretary to please schedule such for the Senate and the interested senators. If not, I can conduct it alone and share the information with my fellow senators. Still nothing from COMELEC. COMSEC, please.
Please.
Sorry, COMSEC, Dana? Wala pa rin signal ang COMELEC.
Good morning. Good morning, Ms. Chairman.
Yes, Jeannie.
This is Jeannie. Yes po. Based on the information mentioned by the National Privacy Commission po on the small number of data, personal information data, we verified that, and based on our overseas Office of Overseas Voting, we do not have that file in our possession because it is an Excel file. Ang mga files po namin for the voter information are in database, so it is not from COMELEC. It was mentioned by our director of OFOB. Also,
you're talking about the OFW file?
Yes.
Whom are you responding? There have been a lot of allegations raised this morning against COMELEC. To which one are you responding? Which party, please?
The one
I do not recall anything about an OFW file. Please explain further.
Yes po, the one po that mentioned by the National Privacy Commission, that there are small files with personal information.
Yes, they said that some personal information was shared. There was no mention of the OFW.
Yes po, but during the meeting po with the National Privacy Commission, it was mentioned by our OFOB director that file.
Okay.
They showed it
You
to
have to
us.
tell me about it. I wasn't there at that meeting,
Yes,
and neither
sorry.
were the rest of this committee.
Yes po. They showed us the file, and
Okay.
our OFOB po mentioned that that file did not come from the COMELEC because we don't have that file in Excel format.
And what can you say about the additional comment of the National Privacy Commission, reiterated by several others who are here, such as the CICC, that in fact it was not COMELEC, but a third party engaged by COMELEC, i.e. Smartmatic, that failed to keep these files secure? Anong masasabi po ninyo?
Because that file po, that specific file, we're not giving information to Smartmatic with personal information, with PII, personal identifiable information, because it is not needed in the system.
Yes, I think that's what Commissioner Casquejo also said.
Yes.
Na it could not have been from Smartmatic either, because only non-sensitive information such as voter precincts, centers, publicly available information is actually shared with Smartmatic. Totoo ba yun?
Right po, right po. The only information that we use for the configuration of our BCM and CCS are only the electoral data, and those are the candidates, project of precincts, a clustered precinct, city, municipality, province, and the number of seats and positions. There is no...
I would like to inquire though, at the JCO, Commissioner Casquejo said that subject to further explanation by COMELEC ICT, the most sensitive information is contained in a memory room inside a very secure physical location equipped with multiple safeguards. Na-intriga po kami dun sa memory room eh. Ano ibig sabihin nun?
That's memory configuration room po, where we do the configuration of each BCM and CCS.
Okay, this is shared or not shared with Smartmatic?
This is not shared with Smartmatic po because it's only the COMELEC who has control of the memory configuration room.
Yes, I don't know how it quite works, but Attorney Ivan Uy, like myself, are quite agitated by this proposition. Yes, Attorney Ivan, you're recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, speaking about the memory configuration room, in the past elections, Madam Chair, the memory configuration room is only located in the Santa Rosa site.
Yes.
Where all the SD cards are configured to correspond to each of the VCMs that will be deployed in all different precincts. What concerns us now is that COMELEC is creating several regional and provincial hubs. These hubs theoretically are supposed to be quick response centers where if there are any SD cards or VCMs that would be defective on election day, these are brought to those hubs for reconfiguration.
Yep.
So which means that whereas in the past there was a very secure, single, well-guarded configuration room in Santa Rosa, now we have it scattered all over the provinces and all over the regions without anybody knowing who are stationed there, who are guarding that, and there are no oversight from any of the political parties. So I'm a little disconcerted
Yeah,
about
that's
this.
right. So Director Florita, is it correct that we've spun out the Santa Rosa operations that we're familiar with from previous elections to different regions and provinces? Tama ba yun? Tama ba na na-regionalize and nakalat sa mga regions? Itong reconfiguration room for SD cards and VCMs. We're familiar with this kasi there were several SDs in Ilocos Norte that didn't function properly. They had to be sent all the way to Santa Rosa and then we had to wait till they all came back. So ngayon, ang sinasabi, iba't iba na ang ating mga reconfiguration sites. Tama ba yun?
It's correct po that we have a technical hub for every region. And for this election po in 2022, we have provincial hubs. But it is not a configuration room. It is just a place where
Where came from you? I'm sorry. You're the one who said memory configuration room. Di ko nga alam yan eh.
The memory configuration po is in Santa Rosa.
Oh, tapos ano yung nasa region at saka sa province?
Sa region po and province, we call it technical hubs. That's where we copy a specific configuration in case the VCM SD card becomes defective. For example po, in NCR, we have one hub in Intramuros, and then if for example one clustered precinct for Manila is example 0001 becomes defective, instead let's go na lang po to a region like Mindanao, instead of going to Santa Rosa to get the replacement for that one specific precinct, what we were doing is from Santa Rosa we create that specific precinct only file and send it to Mindanao hub, and then they will just copy. They're not doing the configuration but
I
copying
see.
the specific.
So walang reconfiguration, they're just copying.
Wala po. That is only copying po. And the personnel assigned there are the OST and the ICT po. We have a MOA with the OST and the ICT to man the technical hubs.
So, sir, yes, I think Ivan still wanted the follow-up, please, and Hubert is recognized thereafter.
Yes, Madam Chair. In order to do that, you need what we call the EMS, the Election Management System, to do the reconfiguration. So, regardless of what, so if it is done in the memory configuration room in Santa Rosa, and then it is transmitted or sent remotely via email or whatever to the hubs, we will need assurance that the reconfiguration that the hubs are receiving are really from Santa Rosa and not from any other EMS that's operating in Novotel or in Antipolo or wherever, because that's where the interception can come in. So how do we assure the public that? And since these are regional and provincial hubs, shouldn't all the political parties, the watchdogs, be present there so that they can be sure that what is being swapped in the SD cards are not preloaded SD cards?
Alex, I think you were sending something on the chat also.
Yes, madam. I just found out that the way the COMELEC send those files is a secure FTP process. But again, the point of Attorney Ivan is that there are no witness inside in case there might be a possibility of SD card switching.
Yes, I think Hubert also was raising his hand. Yeah.
Thank you, Madam Senator. I think in the past JCOC hearings, Madam Senator, ladies and gentlemen, this matter has been raised by us, Ivan, Alex, and the rest of the IT groups. No? And
Yes.
during that JCOC hearing, Commissioner Casquejo committed to allow physical
Yes.
presence of members of or representatives to the different parties or candidates in the regional and provincial hubs. If I may add, Madam Chair, Commissioner Casquejo not only committed to allow physical presence in the regional provincial hubs, he also allowed physical presence in the data center or where the Meet Me room is located or where the transmission router server is located as well. And he also likewise committed that that all ERs from all the precincts, 106,000 precincts, will likewise be posted in the public website or the COMELEC website. So with our experience now in the digital signature issue, which he likewise committed and in fact admitted that a resolution has been issued, now we are hearing that that only selected areas will have a digital signature. Of course, the ICT and the rest of the CAC are doing something about it as well. Baka naman yung mga commitments ng iba, baka mabaliwala. That's why I'm raising that again, Madam Chair.
Yes, yes, Attorney Hubert. The issue of the digital signatures has surfaced, given the complaints of the DepEd, that after all our boasting and bragging about the capacity for digital signatures at every point in time, at every phase in the process, it appears wala ng digital signature na naman. Paano ba, Director Florito? Nalito ako dun eh. Kasi nagre-reklamo ng bonggang-bongga yung DepEd. Kasi they underwent a quite rigorous process and a comprehensive process of collecting the data signature, the digital signatures of their teachers. Ano ba mangyayari sa mga digital signature na? Maybe Secretary Cainti can tell us also kasi starring din dyan yung DICT eh. Director Florita, ano nang update natin sa digital signature? Kasi isa pang security issue yan eh.
Good morning, Madam Chair. Based on the last meeting with the steering committee of the COMELEC and the CAC last Monday, it was mentioned by Commissioner Marlon that all the canvassing board of canvassers will have a digital signature, but on the side of the electoral board, there will just be a selected areas to implement the digital signature, mainly because of the lack of the equipment that we will need to copy from the electoral board digital signature to the iButton.
Parang nalito ako nun eh, kasi pinagmamalaki natin na may capacity na tayo for the first time to give digital signatures. May we seek a written clarification from COMELEC as well as DepEd kung ano talaga ang mangyayari kasi nalito kami lahat. Up to now, nalito pa rin.
Yes, Madam Chair.
You'll just pick and choose electoral boards to sign? Paano naman yun? Anong silbi nun?
Madam Chair, can I just request for a written report on
Sige, oo, better. Kasi litong-lito na kami. Kasi parang ang labo, basta alatsama na lang kung sino may digital signature. Ganun ba yung naintindihan ko?
If I may?
Yes, please, Dana.
Yes. We received, ma'am, from COMELEC a letter dated March 7, 2022, explaining, ma'am, about the partial implementation of digital signatures, ma'am.
So is that adequate, or does if Director Florita or the other COMELEC IT have stuff to add, can we just urge you to submit as much information and updates as you have regarding this digital signature? Ang yabang kasi natin sabi natin kayang-kaya na, biglang partial na lang.
Yes,
Also,
Madam Chair.
COMSEC, if you will also provide the same paper from COMELEC regarding digital signatures to Attorney Hubert, Attorney Ivan, and the rest of our IT crew who are here, Alex Ramos, and so on, para mabasa nila at higit nila naintindihan kaysa sa akin.
Okay
I
po, ma'am.
also urge that you provide the same to USEC Alain Pasqua at DepEd, who has been jumping up and down about the failure to implement this completely.
Okay po.
So, COMSEC, ibigay mo na lang sa kanila para mahimay ng maigi at hindi ko masyado naintindihan. DICT, you were saying that you're in perfect consonance with the COMELEC and the ability to implement the digital signatures. Ano ba nangyari? Baka si Secretary Manny may masabi sa atin, bakit partial na lang po tayo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Tanungin ko po, no, ang effort to use the digital signatures is a joint effort with DICT and DepEd. So kailangan i-enroll lahat ng teachers at magkaroon sila ng digital signature na gagamitin para sa mismong halalan.
Okay.
Okay, so na-enroll sila lahat, ma'am. Hinabol namin lahat with the help
Yun na
of DepEd.
Effort yun eh.
300,000 enrolled ang teachers.
Kaya nga.
Tapos, ang way para magamit yan sa mismong halalan, gagamitin yung I button. We were informed last February 18 by COMELEC na sayang nga, no, kasi na-enroll na lahat, pero ang kulang po kasi hindi yung mismong I button, kung hindi yung kagamitan para idugtong sa isang server para doon ida-download at bitbit ng teacher yung I button. So kumpleto, sapat ang nabiling I button pero nagkulang sa download cable, yung parang pangdugtong. Kung kaya, mula nung February 18, nagsulat
Bakit nagkaganon? Ba't hindi tayo nasabihan? Di ba you committed this as early as 2019, right after the elections? Binibilan na natin to eh.
Apo, natapos po namin, ma'am, ang aming commitment sa inyo, ma'am. Pero ang pagbili po ng I-button at kagamitan ay nasa COMELEC po yan. At nasabihan po kami na dumaan naman po sila ng ilang beses ng pag-attempt ng pagbili. In fact, I think they have tried 3 times to buy. So again, tama po
kayo. What are you saying? There was a failure of bidding in COMELEC?
For the purchase of the I-button and the attachments, ma'am. But that will have to be for COMELEC to answer, ma'am. Kami po ay informed lang po on that, ma'am. Di po kami ang nag-undertake ng pagbili ng kagamitan. Ang trabaho po namin sa DICT at DepEd ay masiguradong ma-enroll ang mga guro, mga electoral board na magkaroon ng certificate na gagamitin doon sa kagamitang yon.
Senator Coco, ba't ganon? 3 beses nagpe-failure of bidding pag essential I-button to safeguard PKIs, etc. Pero kapag MOA sa Rappler, mabilis pa sa alas 4. Joke lang. Sige, Senator Coco.
Ang narinig ko, sufficient I-buttons daw ang nabili. Tama?
Wala nang kable.
Oh, yung kable. Yung I-button cannot be shared, but cannot the cable be shared?
They are shared po. Sorry, Madam Chair. May I answer?
Yung 1:1 na I-button yata, di ba 1:1 po yun? Those who serve in the board in the precinct must have 1 I-button. So 1:1. But ang reason na narinig ko kasi kable, download cable.
Kaya nga, oo.
Common sense na tayo. If we want our elections to be successful, bawal ba mag-sharing ng kable? Hindi ko na naintindihan ito.
Kaya nga hindi. There are no cable at all kasi 3 times nag-failure of bidding.
At does COMELEC confirm that? There is no cable at all. But ma'am, meron kasing pilot na. Ang nangyari, ang naintindihan ko ngayon, hindi na universal yung digital signature because selected areas na lang. Meaning to say, merong successful na may iButton at may kable na na-download niya. Merong successful areas, may areas na hindi. So, does the COMELEC confirm that? Medyo nalito na rin po ako eh.
Director Florolita, please. Nagpapanik po kami dito. Simple lang.
Yes, Madam Chair. Since 2021 po, in first quarter of 2021, we already have biddings for the network adapter. Ang tawag po kasi doon sa connection is the network adapter. That will connect the iButton reader and the iButton to the laptop. Pero because po of pandemic, yung mga supplier po, hindi sila nag-join during bidding. So we already had 3 failures of bidding na nga po. Actually po, because we cannot get the 2,000 lang naman po ang kailangan namin. Because we cannot get the 2,000, we decrease that into kahit nga po mga na lang 1,000 and then naging 200 na nga lang po. But still po hindi kami makabili because based on the supplier, they can only deliver on December. Tapos na po yung election. So
200 pieces and they can't deliver? Sure
yes,
tayo?
they cannot deliver na raw.
Yung cabling yan?
Specialized po kasi siya for iButton only. Hindi siya yung universal na adapter. What we have in COMELEC po is only 29 pieces. That's why po COMELEC decided to have na lang pilot test. Dun sa 29 na yon that can be shared by the municipalities of those areas. I will request na lang po yung COMELEC for a written report on that.
Yes, please. We'd like that in writing, please. Attorney Ivan, please.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Well, first of all,
parang kung ganyang network, biglang, kung ganyan ang network adapter, di ba, dapat lumipad sa China, humingi sa China, masya-shopping yan sa grocery, miski sa ang kalat dyan. Okay, Attorney Ivan, please. Sorry. I couldn't resist.
Well, sa report that will be submitted by COMELEC, perhaps we can give a deadline, because the report might come after the elections and that will be
okay, Attorney Ivan. Di naman siguro. Yes, Director Florolita, you're enjoined to urgently submit that.
Any date particular, maybe by Monday or Tuesday?
Simple lang naman. Ano ba nangyari? Sino ba nag-bid at bakit kapalpakan? Siguro naman pwede mag-order sa China. Baka sa Lazada at sa Shopee, baka mahanap ko pa yan.
Secondly, Madam Chair, the PKI system of the ICT can actually be deployed directly to the VCM without using the iButtons.
Okay.
So it can be loaded
directly. Pwede naman direct. Well, yung iButton is just additional, di ba?
Then you can forgo using the iButton and have the teachers input their digital signature directly on the input screen of the VCM.
Ayun pala, so that it's no longer selective given that you only have 29 pieces of cable.
Yes, then it can be done in all because the iButton is just an extra hardware to load the digital signature. But if it's loaded directly to the VCM and the teachers can just key in directly through the input mechanism of the VCM, then that should suffice.
Any thoughts, Director Florolita? You don't need to commit. This is possible, correct?
We have to look at it pa po because as of now we already have from Mindanao to Region 4 configured. Yun po kasing strategy on putting it in the system. That will be on the configuration. So malapit na po kaming matapos sa configuration. And everything is tested na.
So what you can do is, for those that are already configured, you can use the I button. For all of those that you will not be using the I button because of lack of cables, you input it directly to the VCM. Then you'll have digital signatures for all your VCMs.
Director, is what you're saying that the majority has actually been configured? That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to BARM. Is that correct?
Yes, Madam Chair. And ang remaining na lang po siguro natin is because ongoing na yung 4, so it's only 3, Region 3 to NCR.
Hindi, may NCR ka pa, may 4A, 4B ka pa.
Yung 4 po is ongoing na.
A and B?
Yes.
Yes, pero pwede naman diretso na. Can we consider that? Anyway, I think we need an explanation regarding these digital signatures and the failure to activate the entire system. I would also like to inquire from COMELEC. There are several queries here already. That COMELEC has disallowed the national printing, the presence of anyone in the national printing office. No political parties, no candidates, no NGOs, no one. Is that correct? And why? Kasi ang promise sa atin, at every stage of the game, pwedeng manood ang NGO, pwede rin makita ng mga political parties representing their candidates, pero bigla ngayon, pinagbawalan na yata, ang pagkaintindi ko. Alex also has some input on this. I believe that the presence of any witnesses at all have been prohibited. Is that correct?
That's correct, ma'am. We have an official letter from the office of Commissioner Casquejo.
Yes, if you would therefore provide the committee with the same letter, and I will forward it with a request for an explanation to COMELEC.
Yes, Madam Chair. I will forward.
Okay, thanks very much. Is that, I'm sorry, please identify yourself. I think you're raising your hand, ma'am.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, sino nga yan?
This is Helen Aguila Flores, Madam Chair. And I happen to be the Vice Chairperson of the Printing Committee.
Okay.
May I please be allowed to say something regarding the issue?
Yes, Director Flores is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. While it may be true that our chairperson of the Printing Committee, Commissioner Casquejo, has temporarily requested that observation be postponed, it is not true that there is a definite denial of request to observe the printing process, Your Honor. I think that from what he said during one of our meetings, Your Honor, it will be allowed in due time, Your Honor.
In due time? Pag natapos na yung printing, patay?
Hindi po, Your Honor. Hindi po. I know because we have discussed regarding that, Your Honor. It's just that during the time that this request came, the alert level at the time was still, I think, number 2, if I'm not mistaken. But with the recent development, I think the response of the committee will soon be adjusted, Madam Chair.
Is that sufficient, Alex, please?
No, the reason here is security. As far as the response of the office of Casquejo, there is an observation room that is confined. It's not even interactive to anyone. So we cannot find the reason why there is a security issue. Maski medical issue, because it's a very enclosed observer's room that we have been using since 2016. And we cannot find the reason, the security issues or medical issues on that matter.
Tsaka Madam Chair.
Yes, Senator Coco, please.
Ganito yun eh. No matter what the alert level is, no matter what the pandemic
hindi pwede yun.
situation is, for as long as COMELEC is undergoing election-related activities, they should allow witnesses. Ganun po yun eh. That is the nature of the of the activity. The people must be allowed. So do not use the pandemic as the reason and then tuloy yung COMELEC activity which should be open to the people for transparency's sake. Ganun po yun. So ganun po ang pag-argue ko ron. So
yes,
COMELEC, please do not use alert level because kahit na strictness alert level and yet you are able to print ballots, you allow witnesses.
So, correct. I'm in full agreement with Senator Coco. Kung talagang napakahigpit ng alert level, sabihin natin 2 or 3, di sana nahinto pati yung printing. Totally tapos. Diba? Pero hindi pwedeng tuloy-tuloy kayo, pero hindi kayo nagpapapasok ng tao, pambirang buhay yan. Somebody's raising their hand. I'm not certain who it is. Yes, Attorney Hubert, please.
Madam Chair, since 2016, we've been allowed to observe not only the printing of the ballots, even in the configuration of the SD cards in Santa Rosa warehouse.
I understand that no one's allowed to go to Santa Rosa either. What's going on?
Exactly, Madam Chair, so which is very concerning for all of us. Kay Botlim, madaling mapakiusapan at he allowed every observer to be present. But all of a sudden, merong pagsisikip or
Was that also in written form? Did you also get a letter prohibiting the entry to Santa Rosa? Naku, Senator Coco, that's a very important part of the electoral. So, Attorney Hubert, did you get a letter also like Alex did?
Madam Chair, walang advice sa amin.
Paano nyo natuklasan na hindi pwedeng mag-observe?
Kasi si Alex, Madam Chair, we're coordinating with Alex, Madam Chair, on the sir, hindi na rin nagpapapunta.
Madam Chair, can I be heard?
Yes, Alex, please.
Every week I go to the gates to seeking entry. Every week.
And then, hindi ka pinapapasok?
Ayaw, I cannot force the COMELEC guards to do that for me. So sabi na, walang coordination, walang authority. Same statement for the last 12 weeks.
Okay. And Attorney Hubert, you had the same experience that you were forbidden entry without any formal advice. Is that correct?
No, but I'm sure we have people who would go to the area, and these same people are prohibited from entering.
Yun nga. So, hindi sila
Yes,
pinapapasok ganun din.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. So, we now have complaints of COMELEC disallowing entry in the printing of ballots at the National Printing Office, in the configuration of the SD cards in the Santa Rosa Technical Facility. Senator Coco, what should we do?
Madam Chair.
Yes, who is that, please?
Ma'am, may I respond?
Yes, please.
Siguro ngayon, I think COMELEC is also present. They have heard our sentiment, our position.
Oo.
Ganito na lang po, basta what used to be done transparently and before the eyes of witnesses should continue to be done transparently and under the eyes of witnesses, no matter the pandemic situation. We cannot use the pandemic as the reason to change rules, especially regarding sensitive activities which should be witnessed by observers. So, narinig naman siguro ng COMELEC po yun. Maybe a formal letter from the committee rin. I so move that we also bring this up formally with Commissioner Casquejo,
Yes.
so that he can review the rules that he has issued, Madam Chair. Yun lang po yung basta ganito. Lalo na ngayong panahon, wala na siguro live with COVID na, Madam Chair.
Kaya nga wala nang zero COVID.
Basta kahit alert level, ito for the record, sasabihin ko kahit alert level 10, kung meron mang ganun and yet COMELEC continues to print something, to encode something which should be witnessed, therefore they allow witnesses kahit anong alert level. Yan lang po yung aking position, Madam Chair.
Yes, I'm in full agreement. Attorney Ivan, I believe, or kanina, Director Florarita, parang you were raising your hand. Is that correct? Director Florarita muna, pagbigyan natin yung COMELEC.
Madam Chair, it's not true po na hindi papakita ang warehouse because we have scheduled, and during the CAC meeting din po last Monday, it was announced.
Dalawa na yung pinagbabawalan yung tropa ni na Alex Ramos at si Attorney Guevara. Pare-pareho silang hindi pinapapasok
Because po, we are securing yung warehouse because ang configuration is there. Ang mga security guard po will not allow you to enter if you don't have an approval before entering the area. Pero we have a schedule po.
Pero bago to Director Florarita, bago tong nangyayari. Dati naman labas-pasok
Even before po, we have a security protocol that you cannot enter if your name is not in the list.
Attorney Hubert, would you like to comment? Alex, I think you've had requests as early as last year because we've had hearings on this. Parang nag-request na sila at magpa-accredit sila nung pa
Madam Chair, may I be heard? This is Myla Villanueva, PPCRV.
Yes, all right. COMELEC, are you done? Sorry,
Yes,
let her finish, please.
I want to mention po that we have a schedule of walkthrough sa warehouse on March 14.
Pero walkthrough yun, that's not the legal requirement of witnesses present in all significant electoral processes.
But they can witness naman po
They're not witnessing, it's just a walkthrough. Magde-demo lang kayo
No, it's another activity po on March 22 naman it's an end-to-end demonstration of the BCM and CC.
Oh, sige. I have a third complainant here. I believe it's PPCRB. Ms. Myla Villanueva, please. Kanina pa.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to support Ma'am Jeannie that there is a walkthrough. However, this is very different from the request of all the observers. We were allowed easy access in the past. Now, we do understand there's a pandemic, but we have been constantly writing. And while there is a pandemic, we also requested that live streaming be done. It's very easy to set up a camera to allow everyone in the nation to see the floor at a distance if it was a pandemic issue. But like you have said, it's already level 1 and we constantly request to be allowed inside the NPO in Santa Rosa. Aside from the walkthrough, if that can be granted, we will be very grateful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, PPCRB. Tama yun kasi ang gusto natin, daily observation ng NPO, ng Santa Rosa SD configuration. Hindi naman pwede isang walkthrough, demo-demo lang isang araw. Kailangan nakatutok. Live streaming is a very good suggestion as well. And like you said, perfectly easy to set up. Yes, COMELEC, please. Director Florarita, any response? Are you open to this? Kasi hindi pwedeng sekreto yan
Yes, Madam Chair, I will raise
ng eleksyon
Yes, Madam Chair, I will raise the issue with the steering committee head po, si Commissioner Casquero.
Thank you very much. And Attorney Ivan Uy.
Yes, Madam Chair. Well, what concerns me po is the information of Director Florita that they're practically almost done with the configuration and that only a few areas are left for configuration. So,
tapos na, wala naman nakaalam.
So what is there to observe? We don't know what they put in the configuration.
Tama, tapos na
Tapos na. Maybe that's the reason.
Kung halos tapos na yung buong Pilipinas, sabi mo, tatlong region na lang natitira. Ano pa i-observe namin ito?
How do we know what's inside those configuration? Nobody saw that. No, nobody saw them.
Yes, Director.
The configuration I'm mentioning po is the creation of the SD card with configuration, but the process of the pre-election logic and accuracy test is not yet done. Nandun pa lang po
O
kami
yun na lang ang natitira. Pero yung SD configuration, medyo bloody yan.
It's only the creation of SD po, but after we prepare yung SD, it undergoes pa doon sa QA before we do the clustered precinct. One pa lang po muna yon. As I mentioned po, yung Region 4, one SD card pa lang po yun. But on the quality assurance, which is also performed doon sa memory configuration room, is nasa Region 6 pa lang po.
Hala,
It
Director
undergoes...
Florita, quality control na lang ang sinasabi mo.
No, but
gawa na.
Doon po nag-i-start ang process. QA first, then before namin i-produce yung SD card of all the precincts, and then it goes to kitting. Sa QA po nag-i-start yung process ng configuration.
Are you reassured? It doesn't look like anyone is very happy. Attorney Hubert, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. No? Siguro, hindi ko alam kung observe ni Madam Director na for the past electoral exercise, every day po may tao po tayo dyan para mag-observe ng proceeding. Whether pre-lot siya, whether configuration siya, maski packaging pa lang and deployment, may tao po tayo dyan. Because we need to observe every step of the way po, no? Para lang, it's also to help COMELEC, no? Kung if we're assured that our level of confidence is pretty high in the system, it will also benefit COMELEC. But because na ito na naman tayo, para one step, two step forward na tayo, bigla na lang 3 steps backward tayo, no? Without allowing observers to be present, no? I agree with Ma'am Myla, no? Madali naman mag-setup eh. Pwede naman mag-live stream tayo, no? In fact, that was been requested also before, not only in writing but also verbally, no? But I don't understand why there's some hesitance on the part of COMELEC to allow even just a live streaming, no? But again, ma'am,
Kasi pinapanood naman yan eh.
Huli ko na ma'am sasabihin ito, ayoko na maging siraplaka, Madam Chair, no? Nandiyan na tayo. Okay. Matatapos na yung configuration, okay. Ang nire-request ko lang, Madam Chair, at ito committed ni Commissioner Casquejo during the past JCOC hearings, no. Number 1, yung pag-post ng election return sa public website. Importante na po yan. Bago pa ma-transmit, bago pa ma-press at ma-transmit at pumunta pa sa MBOC, mapunta pa sa transparency server, i-post na natin ang ER doon sa public website ng COMELEC. Okay. Number 2, allow naman physical presence na rin. Diba? Kung hindi nila ina-allow sa Santa Rosa Warehouse, hindi nila allow physical presence sa National Printing Office, ito naman sana i-allow naman nila physical presence sa data center kung nasaan yung transmission router server or yung meet me room. At pangatlo, allow naman physical presence sa provincial hubs at regional hubs. Importante po doon. So sabi may issue tayo sa switching of SD cards, at least meron tayong physical presence para at least to deter any issue or any problem that may arise later on SD card switching. Yan lang po, to build up confidence also of the voting public. Tatlo lang po yan, ma'am. Huli ko na po sasabihin yan. Thank you.
At saka, sa totoo lang, hindi naman dapat hinihingi yan. Required na yan talaga na may physical presence, may testigo, it's in full view of the public. I think Alex earlier had some information regarding the NPO na halos lahat ng balota na imprenta na rin. Is that correct? We call on Mr. Alex Ramos.
It's an inside report lang, ma'am. So we are still really in a quandary what's happening inside.
So ano nangyayari sa NPO? Can we ask the COMELEC please? Mukhang may himala at halos tapos na raw lahat ng balota pero walang nakakakita dahil walang pinapapasok. Tama ba yun?
Madam Chair.
Yes, please. Who is that? It's Director Helen.
Flores po, opo. Madam Chair, the percentage of printed ballots as of now is 66.4. It's not true that 64.44 million ballots as indicated in the chat.
Regardless, the majority of the ballots, Director Helen, with all due respect, have already been printed without any knowledge or witnesses from the political parties, the NGOs, and the general public. Bawal yon.
Madam Chair,
Yes, please.
may I please also cite that out of the 66.4% printed ballots, because there is another process which is called verification. Verification is still also ongoing, Madam Chair, at 47% right now. And the ballots exited is at 42%, Madam Chair. So there is still a big percentage that has yet
Yes,
to
but
be
Director,
verified.
42% have exited. What does it mean? Na-deliver na yan?
They have already been turned over to the Packing and Shipping Committee, Your Honor.
All of this in deep, dark secrecy? Ganun ba yun?
Madam Chair, sorry about that, but there were plans to, in fact, when Chairman Abbas was the chairperson of the printing committee,
There's no need to say sorry to me. It's the lower violating here.
Sorry po, there is actually a plan to live stream the process, Madam Chair. It is in the works. However,
yeah, if it's in the works, you know, you just set it up really quickly. But 64%, 66.4%, natapos ninyo, hindi ninyo pwedeng tutukan ng cellphone tsaka computer. Ang bira naman yata yan.
Madam Chair, please, I will relay everything to our chairperson, Madam Chair. All of the comments and what have been discussed in this hearing will be relayed to our chairperson, Madam Chair.
Senator Coco, pwede ba yung ganun? Paano ba yan?
Mahirap kasi ang eleksyon mismo, hindi man pwede i-live stream din eh. kailangan there are really, the nature of the activity kasi is, it should be, it's highly political. Siyempre, people are interested. So, dapat open talaga. So, sayang, yung mga in the works, mga ganun, at 60% na of the printing done, and then we're still probably bidding for the CCTV camera, yun ang problema. So kasi from the very start po sana, aware na po yung COMELEC of the sensitivity of the activities, that people really need to be, to have access, whether interested parties like candidates or those interested in our democratic processes. May mga taong ganun non-partisan, but they are interested in our democratic processes and procedures. So sayang, I mean, how long has COMELEC been in existence, Madam Chair? May mga, na yata, half a century na rin. Alam na dapat nila po yan.
Ay, nako. Yes, Attorney Ivan. Mukha kang diskumpiyado ang balita.
Opo. Well, actually, just to add to that, I'd like to also recommend that if there are any incidents where the SD cards are found to be defective and brought to the configuration or to the hubs and it is returned, that COMELEC required that all those precincts that have those reports of those incidents go through mandatory manual count, just to assure the public that there was no SD card switching.
Ito na yung hybrid natin na hindi pumapasa.
Itong hybrid natin, so it will not be hybrid on all, only on those that have serious incidents where the SD cards were actually pulled out and replaced. So back in 2019, I think there were 1,000 precincts. So it's not all 100,000. So that will be very manageable. Before it is transmitted, if an SD card is changed, there should be a mandatory manual count before transmission, just to validate the contents of the SD card. See, at the rate it's going with all these disallowing observers, baka tapos na yung election, hindi pa nagma-May 9
Yes, one last comment from Ms. Kimson, please.
Good afternoon again. If I may add to what Ivan said, I think the audit or the counting should be physical as well for any system that has to be rebooted. Because there has been discussions that when you reboot the system, it automatically nulls the votes that have entered already. So just to add to what Ivan said, not only the exchange of cards, but if the system has a problem and a technician has to come in and do anything with it, then I suggest that that also be moved to a manual count, please.
Okay, we take note of that, and we will relay to COMELEC, even as they have representatives here. Is there anyone who would like to add to this discussion? All kinds of problems have been raised. At this juncture, I'd like to round up, given the lateness of the hour. Firstly, that this committee is willing to conduct an executive session at the earliest possible opportunity. Since the JCOC has had great difficulty doing this, I would like to undertake this on the part of the Senate, so that the CICC, the NPC, and the others could be free to speak and share such information as they may have. At the same time, if it would be possible, COMSEC, for the convenience of everyone, patawag na natin ang Smartmatic. Siguro, maghi-hearing pa ba tayo ng hiwalay niyan? I think there's no choice. At least a quick hearing, just to understand what Smartmatic's role and position on all of this is. So, kailangan yata tayo mag-hearing ng madali. Ideally, on or before or after the executive session. And thirdly, of course, we request from the COMELEC an explanation, even informally or verbally, regarding the alleged refusal to conduct electoral proceedings in the full view of the public, the concerned candidates and political parties, as well as the NGOs. So, yun ang hinihingi natin sa lalong madaling panahon. Sana magtipon-tipon tayo ng COMELEC kasi nagre-request kami. This is very urgent. Okay? And please provide us also, finally, COMELEC, the update on these digital signatures, the I-button, and such other issues as have been raised today. Medyo matagal kayo mag-submit ng request. Kaya kahit informal, kahit text na lang ang tawag, at least naintindihan ko na narinig ninyo kami. But these are very, very serious concerns. The right of suffrage cannot be compromised by the unwillingness or sense of inconvenience on the part of officialdom to allow witnesses at every juncture of the process. So with that, if there are no other comments, the Senator present, Senator Pimentel, shall we adjourn muna or suspend? Let us suspend the hearing for today, given that there's still business to be taken up.
So I move to suspend, Madam. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There being no objections, we suspend the hearing of this committee on electoral reform and people's participation, and joining all the technical working groups already constituted to begin their work as soon as possible. Thank you to all our resource persons, most of all our NGOs. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat.
Thank you very much, ma'am, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
Senator.
can offer you a hybrid remote lunch, but have a good lunch. Thank you.
Salamat
Thank
po.
you,